Hello and welcome to SGPN's A Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog Fantasy Pick'em plays for Thursday, September 26, 2024. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo code DAILYDOG, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app for a deposit match bonus worth up to $1,000. That is a 50% deposit match bonus. So if you put $2,000 on the app with promo code DAILYDOG, you get $3,000 in your app to play with. That's $1,000 in free play. And what's so amazing about this giant bonus that Underdog offers is that you don't have to roll it over 15, 20, 30 times to withdraw it. It's 1x rollover. So use the free money they give you once. Don't lose it all, and you can withdraw it right away. It is such a plus EV move. I can't get over it. It's so amazing. I wish I could go back in time and be a new user of Underdog all over again because there's so much free money they're offering you right there. It is insane. And then there's also all the promos that they offer every single week. If you've never seen the promo sheet, maybe I'll talk about it later, but every week during the NFL season, they're just going crazy, offering boosts, offering discounts, offering, like risk-free plays, all sorts of stuff. So get on Underdog, check it out, use promo code DAILYDOG, one word, if you're new to the app, and get that free money. All right. We've been giving out show slips throughout this week. We started on Tuesday. We had another one yesterday. We got another one today. Yesterday, I hinted that I would be playing some lowers in this slip because closer to game day, closer to kickoff, you can usually get value on the under because just human psychology is people play the over. I actually did a little bit of an audible here. I'm targeting the picks and projections. So I didn't actually go with any lowers on this Thursday. We're going to be taking CeeDee Lamb higher than 9.5 targets. He had 7 targets last week. He had 7 targets 2 weeks ago. He had 10 targets in week 1. Have you been following the Cowboys season? The Cowboys are 0-2 in the last 2 weeks when he's only been targeted 7 times. When he has 10 targets, they're 1-0. So let's get back to what worked, Cowboys, and target CeeDee Lamb. There's no more time to be cute. There's no more time to try to make Ezekiel Elliott a thing. No more time to try to make Dowdle in between the tackles running back. It is time to just do what works. And what works is throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb 12 to 15 times a game. He used to be a target monster. I don't know why he hasn't been a target monster as much this year. They need to get back to it because I think they're going to have their hands full in this game versus the Giants. And the best way for them to keep it competitive and to get a lead is to go through their best player, who is CeeDee Lamb. On the other side, we're going with Giants wide receiver Malik Nabers, higher than 10.5 targets. I'd honestly take this one all the way up to 11.5 or 12. He had 12 targets last week. He had 18 targets 2 weeks ago. In week 1, he only had 7 targets. By far, their worst offensive performance on the year was week 1 against the Vikings. The game where they didn't target the rookie more than 10 times is the game where their offense looked completely inept. Week 2, it actually looked pretty good. They just didn't have a kicker, so they ended up losing to Washington, and I'm not exaggerating there. They literally didn't have a kicker, so they didn't have a shot to win that one because they couldn't kick extra points or field goals and ended up losing a one-score game. Then on the other side of that, they went back in that game, Malik Nabers had 18 targets, which is why they were even competitive without being able to kick in that game. And then last week, they win at the Browns, 12 targets for Malik Nabers, 2 touchdowns, a lot of toe tapping, a lot of spectacular highlights were completed in that game, 12 targets in that one. Daniel Jones, everyone hated Daniel Jones. They called him Daniel Pennies. He lost the nickname Daniel Dimes. He was the worst quarterback in the league for about a week. Then that changed. You know why that changed? Because he just started targeting Malik Nabers 12-plus times a game. If they want to win this game on Thursday night, keep the game plan simple on a short week of prep, give your best player the ball as much as possible. That's Malik Nabers. Just throw it up to him. He'll make you look good, Daniel Jones. Let's get higher than 10.5 targets here. Last one, Dexter Lawrence, higher than half a sack. He's a D tackle, interior pass rusher for the Giants. There's a lot of guys banged up on this Cowboys offensive line. Dexter is the top sack man for the Giants right now. He's got 3 sacks on this 3-game season so far. 1.17x multiplier. I love the value here. Dak sometimes holds the ball a little too long. I obviously think the Cowboys are going to be passing a lot in this game as I took CeeDee Lamb higher than 9.5 targets. So Dexter Lawrence, get a sack, makes a ton of sense to me right here. This 3-leg slip is 7.02x multiplier. If you put $10 on this, you'll get $70.20 back if it hits. You could also play it as a flex and get 3.51x if it goes 3 for 3 and 1.17x if it goes 2 out of 3. A little bit safer that way, a lot less upside. So do whatever your risk tolerance is, but I'm playing this thing straight up on the standard slip for 7.02x. my guys are going to get targeted. And I'll tell you a little bit about, one, I'll tell you about my ideas on this game. I really do think the Giants win this one. I think that they definitely cover 6, and I think they win this game outright. I played them on the money line plus 220. If you care about my sports betting and what I do that is not just pick'ems and props, check out Just Win Sports Podcast. I do it with Amal Shah 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. A lot of fun there. We handicap basically every NFL game, every college football game, and a bunch of other sports as well. We are, let's just say I work for Sports Gambling Podcast Network and am a member of DGen Nation natively. I didn't have to learn the skills to start working for Sean and Ryan. Okay, so let's go back to this slip, though. So CeeDee Lamb, 9.5 targets, and Malik Nabers, higher than 10.5 targets. Why am I so excited about targets? Week one, not week one, day one of this week on Monday, if you were paying attention to the show, Monday Night Football, I had inside info on Gabe Davis to be heavily involved in the game plan. He was returning to Buffalo. They obviously wanted to get him involved in that game. So I had tons of slips on Underdog and other sites that involved him scoring touchdowns, receptions over, yards over, all sorts of stuff. None of that stuff happened, but I did have one backup slip that basically covered my nut for everything else I invested in with Gabe Davis, and that was his targets prop. He went over his targets prop despite not converting many of those targets to catches. His targets prop was 4.5. He had 6 targets in this game. So I still got rewarded for him being a big, heavy part of this game plan without actually having to I got rewarded for him being a big, heavy part of this game plan without him actually having to convert those targets on those terrible passes by Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. Trevor Trubisky. So I'm a fan of using targets in pick'em slips and on sports betting sites because you don't necessarily need them to be efficient with these targets. You just need these targets to happen. You can game plan for a target. You can't necessarily game plan for the catch being converted. So, yeah, I'm happy to bring in these targets in here. And again, 7.02x multiplier on CeeDee Lamb, higher than 9.5 targets. Malik Nabers, higher than 10.5 targets. And Dexter Lawrence, higher than half a sack. All right, yesterday's slip was Malik Nabers, higher than 6.5 receiving yards. Obviously, that's synergistic with our pick of higher than 10.5 targets. If he goes 7 for 11, we are awesome in these two slips. I also took CeeDee Lamb higher than half of a touchdown yesterday because I thought there would be a little steam on that. There actually has been a little bit of reverse steam on the Nabers receptions, but the touchdown prop has stayed. Our pick has stayed the same for CeeDee Lamb. And then yesterday I also gave out Rico Dowdle higher than 13.5 receiving yards because, again, I think that the Cowboys are going to have to try to pass to stay in this game. Dowdle is the receiving back, so he can get 2 or 3 catches and get 14 yards in this one. That was a 6x multiplier yesterday. Now it's at 6.24x because the Malik Nabers catches has moved against me a little bit. But Dowdle receiving is up a yard to 14.5 from 13.5, which I think makes a little bit of a difference. And I'm not quite as interested in that number as I am in 13.5. It's just, how many, if he doesn't break one of these catches, he can get 4 yards per swing pass, right? And if he gets 3, he should be right around that number. But when you're trying to get to 15 yards on 3 passes, you need 5 yards per catch. That's a little bit more tough to do unless he breaks one of them, which who knows? Hopefully that happens. Then 2 days ago, I gave out another slip, which is partially off the board now. I had Dak Prescott higher than half of an interception. Again, I think about all the stuff I like. I like a lot of receiving props for the Cowboys. I like sack props for the Giants. So it makes sense that I like Prescott to also throw an interception because I think that this is going to be a very pass-heavy game plan. I also had Nabers higher than half of a touchdown on Tuesday at 1.31x multiplier. It's down to 1.2x multiplier. I still think that's playable. Anything at flat multiplier or better. Take Malik Nabers to score a touchdown. Danny Dimes has to target him. There's really just no other option for him. And then I had Brandon Aubrey, the kicker, higher than 1.5 field goals made. That one's off the board now, which is kind of annoying. They have 7.5 kicking points, which is not quite a good analog. So that one's annoying. But all right, I got to keep going. Man, we're already 9.5 minutes into the show. So this is the MLB vibe slip. These are the MLB picks that I really like for today. It's the last A's home game, basically ever in Oakland. Give me Lawrence Butler higher than 1.5 total bases. He's going to do it in the leadoff. He might hit a leadoff triple or a home run here. Lawrence Butler higher than 1.5 total bases. Charlie Blackmon, goodbye tour, higher than 1.5 total bases. I'm going to have Charlie Blackmon on my slip every freaking game I can for the rest of his career, which is only a couple games left. So go Charlie Blackmon, higher than 1.5 total bases up at Coors Field. the place he's called home for all 14 years of his career. Last one, Shohei Ohtani to steal a base. He did it for us yesterday. He keeps on stealing bases. He keeps on hitting dingers. Shohei is the man. This is 12.8x MLB vibe slip. Then we're going to the Dong squad, guys who I think are going to hit home runs. Guess what? Shohei Ohtani's on the Dong squad. Brent Rooker is on the Dong squad of the A's. You got to hit a home run in your last home game as an Athletic, Mr. Rooker. Come on, Big Daddy Rook. Charlie Blackmon, home run. Let's double dip. Blackmon can hit home runs. He doesn't do it often, but he can. And again, he's running out of home games. He's got to do it here. Got to have a nice, proper send-off. This is 44.08x if it goes 3 for 3, 7.57x if it goes 2 for 3. That's all I've got for you today. Let's make some money.